Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Malia. I am a single mom to an adult child who currently lives with me, as well as their partner living with us and a cat. I am recently unemployed due to a layoff notice. Along with about 500 other people, I was laid off this summer, and my last day of work was unfortunately August 27th. And since then, I have been trying to navigate what comes next. Um, Unfortunately, due to the way my layoff worked and my job classification not qualifying for certain union benefits, I did not get something called preferential rehire. And so it's been making getting rehired at my old employer really quite difficult. Um, in fact, I've had a couple of managers reach out and tell me after interviews that they really wanted to hire me, but because of this preferential rehire thing, they were forced to hire other people. One was forced to hire somebody without even interviewing them. HR just sent them a resume and said, "This is the person you have to hire," which was particularly upsetting because that specific job I'd had the person leaving the job is a friend and specifically recommended me to that manager, and that manager was really eager to talk to me. HR wouldn't even let her interview me, which sucks. Um, so I've had several interviews, several jobs. They've gone to other people just because of this preferential rehire thing. There are two jobs that I thought the interviews went really well, but they are also with that employer. I reached out by email and just let both hiring managers know that I'm still extremely interested since it's been more than a week since we spoke. Unfortunately, both of them told me they have more people that they have to interview. And when I say have to interview, it's because of the preferential hire thing, as well as a rule that internal applicants who apply within the first 7 days that are qualified automatically get an interview. And with 500 people being laid off, there's probably a lot more people than usual applying for a lot of these jobs. Both told me that they'll get back to me by the end of next week, they hope. Who knows? They also both are departments where I had fantastic interviews previously, and both told me with those previous interviews, the preferential rehire thing is what's fighting me and why I didn't get the jobs the first time. So I'm not at all hopeful about these two jobs, even though they haven't been filled yet. There are several jobs I applied for that I thought I was qualified for, but didn't even get an interview at all. Those positions were just filled. There were a few where the positions were canceled entirely, so nobody got interviewed. Those jobs just don't exist anymore. But I've also had a few interviews outside of that company. One of them went really poorly. I think the person that was interviewing me forgot, and I never received a link for a virtual interview. I waited several minutes until after the appointment time before I called her, and she seemed really frazzled and surprised. Finally sent me a link for a virtual interview and then kept her camera off the entire time, which was strange for a virtual interview. I've never had that happen before. So I was not at all surprised when I did not get that job. Didn't get a call back for a second interview or anything. Last week I had an exceptional interview virtually with both the interviewers on camera, and it went extremely well. The very next day I went and did a shadow where I met with 3 different people within the section that I was interviewing for. There's 3 different jobs within this section. I sat with each for about 20 minutes. They told me what they do. I watched what they do. They asked about my background. I felt like all 3 of those went really well. And they told me I would hear back from them soon, whatever that means. It's been a week, I think. I said it was last week, but it was actually the week before that I did that. So I'm really surprised I haven't heard anything back. If I don't hear anything Monday, I do plan to email the recruiter for that position. I thought it went really incredibly well and would honestly be really surprised if I didn't get an offer unless they have an internal applicant, which is possible. Today, I have been working through this checklist of things for unemployment. I did file for unemployment insurance. The amount of money that I'm qualified to receive as a benefit weekly is next to nothing. I mean, it's not a survivable amount. Unfortunately, over the last 18 months, 2 of the jobs that I had were not full-time, and one of them had so few hours for quite a period that really knocked down my income over the last 18 months. And it's showing in what unemployment calculated as my benefit. I have been diligently keeping track of the things that I've been doing to look for new work, to get more income. But last week, I didn't get a check from unemployment. They decided that because I had worked August 26th and 27th, that I didn't qualify to receive a check for that first week of unemployment, which really was a surprise. The checklist, it should have been really straightforward. It was like, do this, do this, do this. No problem. I thought, piece of cake. I created a plan for my day and thought, oh yeah, no problem. I can get through this plan. Some of these things are pretty quick and easy. It took me 3 hours, 4 hours just to do 2 things, and then quite a bit more time to do a 3rd and 4th item. One website that I was told I had to register on doesn't exist, or at least it doesn't exist in the way or at the email, at the URL that the estate says it does. So it took me a long time to find that. One, I was supposed to call this other office to sign up for job seeking support. You call this phone number, rings and rings and rings, and then you get a message, we're sorry, this phone number is not accepting messages right now. Please call back later. Called multiple times, finally got a person on the phone around 4 in the afternoon. I was supposed to set up an appointment to go to this office. I have a deadline to get this checklist done. I think it's September 18th. No appointments before September 18th. They're all booked. They're flying off the schedule. So she told me to show up in person. They do a lot of walk-in person sessions, but to be prepared to wait and don't go anywhere near lunchtime because tons of people do that and it will be chaos. So Monday morning, I'll grab a book, grab some of my own projects, and go and sit in the lobby after signing in and wait for my turn. The website that I was mentioning, it's supposed to be a skills inventory sort of thing where you upload your resume, you tell it what skills you have, it parses out your resume to decide what skills you have, and then it matches you to jobs. Matched 60 jobs. 20 of them are with my former employer, the one that laid me off. Of those 20, a lot of them just don't even exist, or they're closed, or they're filled, and all the rest I've already applied for. There's no way to indicate any of this on the job site. So it just looks like I'm not applying for these jobs that I've applied for, that have already been filled, or that don't exist. Another 30 or so are with a previous employer. So I went and checked that employer's website. Same thing. All jobs I've either applied for, that have been filled, that have been canceled, that don't exist, or even a handful that I'm not even qualified for at all. The rest are random jobs that I'm not qualified for, or that pay so little money I'd actually earn less than unemployment. So you tell me how that makes sense. I have applied for numerous other jobs. 2 days ago, I opened up 13 job postings from Indeed.com. I applied to 7. I haven't heard back from any of them yet. I applied for 2 jobs locally one is with a local arts organization, another is through a temp agency, but it seems to be in support of a different arts organization. I'm not entirely certain. The one through the temp agency one, though, sounds so much fun, and it sounds perfect, right up my alley. It would make a great use of a lot of my skills. So I did follow up with an email to the temp agency, but have not gotten a call or an email or anything back yet. I do recognize that sometimes these things take time, so I'm not worried about these jobs and things that in emails just from 2 days ago. I expect to not hear anything about those until at least next week. But at the same time, the longer this goes on, the less money I have available, the harder I'm going to have to work to scramble to find money to make ends meet. I received a letter from the unemployment agency stating that I might qualify for a self-employment assistance program. So the letter states, call this phone number to find out if you're eligible. I call the phone number. The lady just says hello, doesn't identify herself or anything. I explain why I'm calling, and she seemed confused and was like, well, you have to apply first. And I said, but the letter said I had to call to see if I'm eligible to apply. And she says, yeah, you have to apply first. Right, but the letter says I have to call you to find out if I can even apply. We go through the song and dance, we answer the same question, or I answer the same question multiple times. Finally, something clicks and she sends me a link to a form to fill out. Basically, this form through a whole other website. So now I think I've been to 3 websites that aren't even the unemployment office, plus all these jobs websites for jobs the unemployment office suggested, plus jobs that I found on my own. And so I sign into this new website, fill out the form, tell it about my self-employment experience, about an idea I have for self-employment, which is something I've been doing for a long time, but I just want to formalize, which is private tutoring and resume writing for new graduates and job seekers who have been out of the workforce for a long time. And I'd like to formalize that. I'd like to get my LLC. I'd like to have a website. I'd like to, just run with it. I've been tutoring for literally decades, since I was 10 years old, and was paired with a struggling second grade reader. All through college I tutored. After college I started tutoring more widely. Throughout the pandemic I was tutoring a lot, to the point that I burnt out for a while. But I would like to get back into tutoring and do more of that. So that is an option over the next few weeks if nothing happens with any of these jobs. Yeah, that's kind of where it's at. I've been doing a lot of resume writing, not just for myself, but for some friends, including a young woman that's a college senior. She'll be graduating soon, and was really dissatisfied with the career counseling that she was getting at her school. So I helped her with her resume, and we had some back and forth over text messages and through a Google Doc. And ultimately she was ecstatic with the work I did on her resume and told me I should be doing that for other people. So I made her a little offer to share with her friends, giving them a bit of a discount, since I just did this for her and I haven't had it as a really big part of my tutoring practice for quite a while, and we'll see what happens. That's kind of the state of where things are at with my unemployment. I'm looking for jobs every day, sending applications every single day, spent hours working on the unemployment department requirements, which were so difficult. Yeah, I'm looking for new tutoring students, and I'm working on an ebook about how to become a private tutor. I'm going to a networking event on Tuesday and made some commitments to a couple of people there that I would get a certain amount of progress done on that, which I have done. I would like to get more done though, so that we can discuss it when I meet them on Tuesday evening. Which I'm also writing an ebook about networking for shy, awkward introverts. If that interests you, please let me know. I'm very shy. I feel socially awkward and I'm extremely introverted, so going to networking events was really hard at first, but now that I've been doing it, it's still hard. I still want to not go every single time an event comes around, but then I force myself to do it and I have an amazing time. I've made some great connections there and I really look forward to it, even though the day of everything in my body is screaming, don't go, don't go. But then I do, and it's fine. So yeah, leave me a comment if you'd be interested in that ebook or in the ebook about how to become a private tutor. I'd love to connect about that. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep plugging away. Right now it is Friday. It's Friday evening, and I think I'm going to work a little bit more on my to-do list today. That unemployment stuff just took so much time and energy out of me that it really put me behind where I was expecting. It's also quite hot here today, close to 100 degrees, which is not something I enjoy at all. So I have not been outside as much as I had planned to. I had hoped to get 7,500 steps in for the day. I'm probably only going to get around 5,000. I have not been drinking as much water as I should. I did go and buy a soda, which I didn't plan to do, but I had a horrendous migraine earlier in the day, and sometimes, unfortunately, a Coke and a Pepsi work far better than pain meds. So that also meant I spent some money, which I didn't plan to do. I'm trying really hard to be pretty tight with my spending right now, since I don't have an income besides this measly unemployment check that I might or might not get based on what happened last week. I will floss this evening before I go to bed. That's on my checklist. I'm working on drinking my water right now, but I should have been drinking water all day and stupidly haven't been. Especially because it's so hot. Got a ton of Duolingo done. I don't know if you're on Duolingo, but I have been crushing it this week since I've had not much else to do. My days aren't filled with going to a job and helping other people. So when I have downtime or I'm bored, I hop on Duolingo. I've been trying really hard to stay off of social media, off of Facebook and Instagram. So I'm spending a lot of time on Duolingo and doing a lot of reading. Let's see, I packed and dropped off orders this morning from my Etsy, Mercari, and Poshmark shops. Those links will be down in the description. I deposited my final paycheck from my former employer. They mailed it, and they mailed it late. State law says that you're supposed to receive it by the end of the next business day after your last day. They did not do that. I picked up a book that I had on hold at the library, revised my mentee's resume for her. I studied and took an exam for a class that I took this summer. I crushed the class, got 94% overall. And I worked on the unemployment checklist, did a little more Duolingo. And then for the rest of the day, I'm just going to keep working on my list and we'll see what happens. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you're looking for a job too, I wish you the best of luck. It is not easy, and I feel for you. We're in this together, and hopefully something will work out for all of us soon. See you next time.